All right, this is Module 5, Lesson 1. We're going to do a little introduction to probability. Let's start off this module with what do we know about probability? Many of you probably know that the definition of probability is the chance that something will happen. Many of you probably know that it's usually written as a fraction. It can be written as a decimal or a percent, but it's usually written as a fraction. And probability is going to be a number between 0 and 1. All right, so what are we going to learn about in this probability module? We're going to learn how to calculate the probability of a single event. We are going to learn about how to calculate the probability of more than one event. We're also going to learn how to simulate an experiment or an event. So an event that we can't actually do, we're going to learn how to simulate that with a probability experiment. Now, on the next page is a spinner game. If you'd like to play this at home, you can. You can just make up two people, decide who's going to go first, each pick a color. We're going to use paper clips as our spinners. We are going to just open up the paper clip to make it like a spinner. I'm going to show you that like this. I'm going to have them put the pencil point on the tip or in the center of the spinner, and we're just literally going to flick it with our wrist and let it go around. So this would land on red. So that's what we're going to do in class. If you'd like to do it at home, go ahead. You're going to fill in and record all of the colors that you get in the chart below. The winner is the person who gets that color 10 times. So whatever color happens 10 times first is the winner. Now, once you do that, there's some questions that follow that. So I'm not going to go through these because it really depends on what you spin on the spinner in order to answer these questions. But I will start with question 4. So after you're done with that, go ahead and pause it. When you're done answering those questions, you can catch back up with me on number 4. So number 4 says below are 3 different spinners. On which spinner is the green most likely to win? So green is most likely to win when it has the largest space. So you're looking at the spinner B is likely to win.
Would you like some ice cream? No ice cream? Really good.
All right, the green, when it is half of the spinner, that is going to be equally likely. And the green, when it's the smallest amount, is going to be unlikely to win. All right, so example 2, what is the probability? So probability is going to be the measure of how likely an event it is for an event to happen. So probability is usually between 0 and 1. Some events are likely to happen while others are unlikely. So this chart is just going to, if you want to read through it, it kind of just explains when events are impossible, the probability is going to be 0. When events are certain, the probability is going to be 1. So events that will never happen are 0. Events that will always happen are 1. So equally likely means the probability is going to be 1/2. So if they are more likely to occur than not, then it's going to be greater than 1/2. And if they're less likely to occur, then it's going to be less than 1/2. So you can read through this if you want. That's just kind of an outline of what probability is. All right, so moving on to the next page, we have a probability scale that's kind of what we just described. And it gives basically a range from 0 to 1, impossible to certain. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these events and we're going to put them on the probability scale. So let's read through them. You will see a live dinosaur on the way home from school today. So what chances that you're going to see a live dinosaur? Probably impossible. So we're going to put A up on the probability scale at 0, or impossible. So what's the probability that a solid rock dropped in water will sink? And that would be B, or certain. We know that that's going to happen. Probability of a round disc with one side red, other side yellow will land yellow side up. Well, that's going to be equally likely chance of happening. A spinner with 4 equal parts will land on the 4. Well, that's 25%, so that's pretty unlikely. Your name will be drawn when a full name is selected randomly from a bag containing the full names of all of the students in our class. Well, there's about 20 kids in each class, so if 1 out of 20, that's going to be pretty close to not happening, but it's not impossible because your name will be in there. A red cube will be drawn when a cube is selected from a bag that has 5 blue, 5 red. Well, that means it's equally likely to happen, so that would be F. And tomorrow's temperature will be negative 250 degrees. That's impossible, so that's going to be G. All right, let's design a spinner so that the probability of spinning green is 1, meaning it's certainly going to happen. The only way to get that is if the whole spinner is green. All right, let's draw a spinner so the probability of spinning green is 0. Well, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can draw a spinner with one color. You can split it into 2. It doesn't matter as long as you don't have any green in the spinner. Design a spinner with 2 outcomes in which equally likely to occur on red and green. So here's my spinner. I'm going to divide it so that half of it is red, half of it is green. So an event that is impossible has a probability of 0. No matter how many times you make, it will never happen. It will occur 0% of the time. An event that has a probability that is certain has a probability of 1, means that it will occur 100% of the time, every single time. So what do you think a probability of 1/2 would mean? Well, probability of 1/2 would mean that the event will occur what percentage of the time? 1/2 is 50% of the time. So if it has a probability of 1/4, that means the event would happen 25% of the time. All right, your homework is on the following pages, and I just wanted to make note to you that a lot of those are not multiple choice questions. They are asking you to identify what kind of probability each circle has. So make sure you read the directions and not just answer as a multiple choice question. Good luck.